I read 106 books in 2023, which is insane, first of all. And I want to tell you my top 10 favorite books of the whole year. I want to also say that your reading journey is your own. Whether you read 1 book, 10 books, 100 books, 200 books, or no books, that's your reading journey. And if you don't like your goal or you don't like how many you've read, then change it. That's how many books I read. I read more in 2022. I read 144 books in 2022, but I decided in 2023 that I was going to not really worry about how many books I was consuming. And though I read less books, I felt like I remembered a lot more of the books that I read this year, and they were a lot better and they were significantly more diverse as well. I'm really happy with the amount of books I read. I read some phenomenal books, so narrowing it down to 10 felt next to impossible. I only have 6 physical books and then 1 Kindle, and 3 of them I don't have with me, but I'm really excited to share with you the top 10 books I read in 2023. And if you like this video, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. I would love for you to stick around. I'm loving filming YouTube videos. It's so much fun. It's such a fun outlet that I didn't even know I enjoyed. So yeah, let's get into it. These are in no particular order, so starting with Hunger by Roxane Gay. This is a memoir. I read quite a bit of memoirs this year. I really enjoy it, and I can't wait to read even more in 2024. So if you have a good memoir, leave it down below. But Roxane Gay, phenomenal. I want to read her other book. I think it's called Bad Feminism, but Hunger was wonderful. It's Roxane Gay's personal experience of being someone who is overweight and just exploring what that means in our culture. The bigger you are, the less you are seen, and Roxane Gay really dives deep into that, and just to be able to look inside of her mind and to read her words, phenomenal. I could not recommend this enough. Lotus by Jennifer Hartman. Phenomenal. I even have a kiss mark on the book. This book was so good. It's a love story, but it's also very dark. So for this one, look up the trigger warnings. I went into this book not knowing anything about it. I suggest you do the same, but in the same breath, look up the trigger warnings. Razorblade Tears by S.A. Cosby. Phenomenal. I definitely plan on reading more S.A. Cosby in the new year. This is a story about revenge and redemption and 2 fathers who become very close in order to figure out who murdered their sons, and the differences between the fathers is very interesting. So phenomenal. It goes into race and sexuality, and it's just really phenomenal. I recommend this to anybody, honestly. I feel like I'm not very good at reviewing books. That's something that I want to work on in 2024, is being better about describing books, because I'm always afraid that I'm gonna give something away. I don't know, I try to read the back of it and then go off of that. Another book that was in my top 10 is The Words by AJ, and it's a big one. But the reason this is in my top 10 is because this is actually the first book that I read fully on my Kindle. I had to own it, of course, because I thought it was just God's gift at the time. It is a very spicy romance, and definitely look up the trigger warnings. It's a dark romance, I would say. Not a plot I like to describe, so I'm not going to be doing that, but it's so good. If you like romances and if you like Kindle Unlimited, if you have Kindle Unlimited, it's on there. It unlocked a genre that I didn't even know I liked, and it also showed me how much I love my Kindle, so I'm very thankful for this book and that story. Before I Let Go by Kennedy Ryan. I would probably put this in my top 5 of 2023, and I would definitely put this in my top 5 favorite books ever. Kennedy Ryan, girlfriend, what are you doing? Like, this book had me in tears, and I had just gotten married. You know, I've been married for 2 years now, but I feel like a newlywed still. So when I read this, I don't know, it broke my heart. Like, it's a love story, but it's a very unlikely love story, basically about two Two people whose love was supposed to last forever and inevitably it didn't, and kind of just their way of finding their way back to each other, and there's kids involved. I didn't think I would like a book that were people of this age group, but I did. It was phenomenal and it left me in tears. Like, I need to reapply. Also, this is a very dusty area of my house, so hopefully the camera's not picking up all the dust. Dark Horses by Susan Mihalik. Wow, I read this at the beginning of 2023, and it is a genre that you should definitely look up the trigger warnings on, but it is about a 15-year-old equestrian prodigy who has a very inappropriate relationship with her coach, who is also her father, and just her journey through that. It would make a really good memoir as well. Sometimes, like, I had to remind myself that I wasn't reading a memoir because it was so well written. Definitely look up the trigger warnings. And if you do know of My Dark Vanessa by, who is it, Kate Russell? My Dark Vanessa is a very similar book to this. So if you liked that one, you will like this one. If you did not like that one, you will not like this one. Oh my god, I almost spilled my Alani everywhere. Is this thing on? The 7th book that I have, I own this book. I have no idea where it went. I feel like I must have loaned it out to someone. Yeah, no, I must have loaned it out to someone. No idea where this book is, but it is Grady Lake by J.L. Hyde. I have it on my Kindle because I was fortunate enough to be able to read it early, so it is on my Kindle, but because I support the author, I also bought it. Don't know where that copy went. I must have lent it out to somebody. I have no clue. I probably did do that. If you know me, you know I love J.L. Hyde. I'm probably her #1 fan, if not her #2 fan. She's a phenomenal person as well, and I love everything about her and her writing. I've read all of her books. I'm very caught up. Her backlist is good as well, and Grady Lake is phenomenal. It's a mystery about a lake and someone who goes missing. Someone else goes missing 20 years later, and it's just really good. I'm not gonna go too in detail about it. If you like mystery thrillers, definitely read it. I can't wait for the second one. It should be coming out early 2024. I don't know if it'll be January, February, or March, but I'm guessing it'll be one of the 3. The next 2 books I do not have copies of. The first one is, what is that book called? I'll show it on my Goodreads. One of Our Own by Lucinda Berry. Can you see that? It comes out, I believe, in March. I could be wrong. March. It comes out in March. Phenomenal, and it's an audiobook only, I believe, and it's narrated by AJ Cook, who is JJ from Criminal Minds. Love Criminal Minds personally. I, again, was fortunate enough to receive an arc of it. Phenomenal. It's about a volunteer 911 operator who gets a call from a teenage girl, and she's kind of trying to help her solve this mystery, and it turns out her son is involved in what happened to the girl. So just being a mother and being put in that position to know that your son did something wrong, but to also love your son, and that moral dilemma she was dealing with. It was really good being in the side of the mind of the mother. And if you don't know anything about Lucinda Berry, you should know that her background, she's a clinical psychologist. I could be a little bit wrong, but she is a healthcare professional in that regard, and so she's very authorized to write the books that she writes. With Lucinda Berry's books, go into them with a trigger warning as well. That's super important. Always protect your mind, your mental health, and do not read books that do not serve you and that do not make you happy. I have 2 more books to talk to you guys about. Again, these are not in any particular order. I do not own either a copy of these 2 as well, but the first one is Matthew Perry's Memoir. I can't even remember the name of it, but I will put it in the description below. But phenomenal. He also narrates it. I listened to it, that's why I don't own it. I got it from the library. I use Hoopla and Libby. All you need is a library card to get free audiobooks. Loved it. It was so good, and just the fact that he narrates it is even better. RIP, it was kind of of eerie to listen to because I am a big Matthew Perry fan. I'm in the middle of watching Friends right now, so his death was very, very sad. The book was phenomenal and I recommend it to anyone, honestly. I honestly think he taught me a lot about addiction as well, and about how well people can hide their problems. Okay, the last book I listened to at the very beginning of last year, 2023, is Theme Music by T. Marie Vandelli. Amazing. It was so good. It's a horror, but it wasn't that horrific. Like, it was more of a dark thriller, if anything. I don't think it was a horror, but it had multiple things going on, and I'm not gonna spoil it because I also went into this book not knowing the plot. I do that a lot, where I'll go into books wanting to be surprised, and that's usually what makes them so good, is me being like, whoa, I didn't know that that book was going in that direction. So if you want to know what it's about, I will leave it in the description below. You can read the summary, but it is dark, and the ending had me like, what? What? Okay, those were my top 10 books of 2023 out of the 106 that I read. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions about the specific books, you can always leave it in the comments below. I'm gonna put a link to each book in the description as well, just for you to have. My reading goal for 2024 is 100 books. I know I can hit that, and I don't want to stress myself out. I want to really enjoy the books that I'm reading. I want to be more diverse. I have a couple of honorable mentions. Black Buck by Mateo, oh, I can't remember his last name, but that book is phenomenal, and so is Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros. Yeah, those are my honorable mentions, mostly because Fourth Wing is what got me interested in fantasy, although I will say I don't think I'm a true fantasy girly. I think I'm more of a romance, thriller, horror, memoir, dabbling into historical fiction because that's what I'm reading right now. I don't know, I don't think I am a fantasy girly, maybe romantasy, but who knows? Who knows what this year will hold. Thank you so much for watching. I love reading, and I'm really excited to share even more of the books that I consume in 2024.